Well, hello, and welcome to the Coaching Business Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Kat Knecht, and I'm excited to share with you the many soul driven strategies there are to help you succeed in your business and your life. Today, we are continuing our series on visioning for the new year. Where we left off, the part one was the year in review. And I have back with me my special guest for this series, Curtis Knecht, who is my business partner, my husband, and my playmate. I'm just going to say, be a little corny here today. So, welcome to the show, Curtis.
Thank you, Kat. Great to be here.
So we have a visioning process that we use personally, as well as a process that we have used with our clients for over 15 years. Curtis was talking about on our last show, just in the first year we did this one visioning process, we worked with, he said 60 people. It's really been something we have honed over the years. And this year, I'm really excited to say that we have created an online vision course called Soul Strategy Vision that we are offering to everybody who is a part of our Academy community. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun to bring it to the podcast audience? Also, there is a workshop on January 13th, 11 a.m. Pacific time, where we are going to, in person, with a group of fabulous coaches, go through some of the steps that we're going to take you through today. So, just a little review, the vision course, and the process that we're going to be working on in this podcast. We have a year in review, which we did on our last show. Today, we're going to take a look at a couple of other pieces of soul strategy visualization, visual inspiration, know where you're going, ask powerful questions, make a map, and create good habits. And on the next podcast, we're going to land it with plan and evolve your vision. So that's 8 steps. We've broken it down into, and we recommend one reason I'm doing this podcast series too. We recommend that you do this in a fairly short period of time. So, what we're going to talk about today is something that we're going to encourage you to do in the next couple of weeks, actually, to get going in your new year, because it's the best time of year that I know to take a look at what's happening in your life and consciously create. Now, so Curtis, what I want to do on today's show is take a look at how you and I do what we do in our visioning. And yeah, are you ready for that?
I give it a shot. Give it my
Okay.
best shot.
So the first thing we do is set an intention. Some people have a word of the year. An intention for me is about kind of the energy, something energetic, which we want to be guiding us as we go through the year. I'm kind of curious your thought on the intention and what it means for you that's helped you stay on track with a vision.
Huh. Well, an intention is like a mantra. It's like a commercial, it's like that that
Yeah.
phrase that goes around and around and around in my head. So what an intention does for me is it keeps me attuned in to what I want.
I love it. And years ago, long before we met, I started setting my New Year's intentions, and it had to rhyme with the year. It just was a silly thing, but it helped. Like, I love what you're saying. It's like a commercial. It would help me remember. So, like last year, our intention was the same thing, only more, right? I remember once when last time it was a 5. It was, together we thrive in 2005, and it's not too late in 2008. So it doesn't have to be, but take some time to think about what is a mantra, your own little commercial you want running in your head this year. It's going to have you go, oh, right, that's how I'm doing my year. That's how I'm doing it. That's what's most important to me. And there's an energy to that. So that's the first piece we put on our vision board, and it's all very dreamy. Second is we set goals. And here I want to unpack this a little bit with you because we've worked on setting goals for years. And what we've come to is we take the things that have been working for us, So if you listen to the year in review show, if you haven't, I encourage you to go back and listen to it. You'll know we bring things forward from the year before. So sometimes our goals are just a continuation of something we worked on last year or something positive that has happened to us or we've learned about ourselves in those insights so that we set goals that we are pretty sure are going to be happy making, fulfilling along the lines of our heart's desire. I'm curious for you, Curtis, what, when you look at the goal setting part, what do you feel has worked for us and maybe for clients, that you've been able to
But
guide?
well, the goals that they're doable. There's something I need to believe this is doable in this year. If I set a goal, like you said last time about Oprah, being, I mean, back in the day, being
Right.
on the Oprah show,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
it does.
being going viral, that kind of thing. If I set a goal that part of me really doesn't believe is possible, it's not going to be a very effective goal. I need to believe it's doable or potentially doable. I would say yeah, that's one
That's
thing.
great. Yeah. So doable. And I'm going to add to that. And you want it to be a little bit of a stretch. Like
Yeah.
that's doable, but that's going to take some doing. That's actually going to
Exactly.
take something I haven't yet kind of made happen or created it to that level. You want to feel, when we talked about the year in review, there's the ouch. So I think in this one, you want to feel the ooh. Oh, that would be fun. That would be cool. That would really, I want to remind the listeners also of the embodiment piece here. You want to feel into those goals. You want to do a body check, right? You set the goal and you say, well, how does that feel? Like, listen to that inner wisdom.
Mm.
Because sometimes goals, many times they are saboteur driven. I have many clients who don't like to use the word goal. So we use terminology like destination point. What's something, if you imagine arriving at it this year, that would be like, ooh, that's where I want to be. Some people like the word results. Because goals have been punishing for some people in their life because they put a goal out there and they haven't reached it. And so they have some kind of negative connotation around it. So this is what I found when I'm coaching my clients and the people who I take through this visioning process is this, you really want to check this piece out. I remember a year we do a 21-day challenge after our vision workshop in January, and there was a woman who was in the 21-day challenge and she came on the first call where we vet the goals. Well, that's what I love to do. So she put her goal out for the 21-day challenge, and there was something in her voice, the way that she said it. I said, like, okay, that sounds like that would be a great thing. What else might be a goal? Like, what would be something fun you would also want to do? You hear I'm using my kind of a little like, so you might want to do that. Set some goals that feel concrete and then ask yourself, what might be fun? What might be something? Because you want to include the goals that are about joy, about there might be some being goals as well. What are some ways you want to be? What are some things that you would like to personally grow into? We have goals at times like have more fun. That can be a goal. That's not measurable necessarily, so you might want to get it down to what you'll be having fun doing. But goals do not need to be always serious, or maybe ever do they need to be super serious.
They always have to bring you alive.
They
They just
have to bring you
always
alive.
have to resonate. They have to make you feel, ooh, both that stretchy feeling of, oh God, I don't, it's doable, but really? You really think you can? But it's with joy. If there's a deadness there, challenge that goal because it's got a saboteur energy. Snuck
Yeah.
in.
Snuck in. And we're going to do this on our next show where we talk about evolving your vision. Because one thing I also want to say is set the goal, not don't put it in cement, right? You're just going, this sounds like a thing I want to aim at. It feels good. you might, you will change it over the year's time. It will look different. It will, as you take action, you'll see, oh, it was more like this, not that. I was kind of in the right ballpark, or I had a sense of it. But we don't necessarily have that clear idea of exactly what it's going to be. So here's where I'm going to go to the next piece in our visioning, and I'm going to bring in visualization. One thing we have in our vision, we call it an operating principle. This is something we added in the last couple of years. It's like a mantra. It's like, here's the thing. This is sometimes what comes through in a visualization. So in the vision course, and we have a recording of it. If you sign up for the January workshop, you'll get the recording. I'm just going to put that in there. I take I'll take you through an experience of really looking into the future and seeing what you want to create. Because in a visualization, I'm bringing this in for as we make our operating principle, because this is the place that's dreamy, where we really go in and go, okay, what is the heart and soul? What is the wisdom, that inner wisdom calling me forth to actually create here? I think of you, and when you do the visualization, it will impact your goals, right? When we do visualizations, because I usually do it for us, kind of walk us through really dreaming into the year and imagining these things happening. This is the measure twice, cut once, where you're visualizing it happening. You're imagining, oh, my client roster is full, business is booming. I got that speaking gig. My book is published. There was the year that was one of our goals. I want to put this in, and I did those things. I felt it, and we did a visualization around it happening. And I remember how I got clues. So in visualizations, you'll get clues about what's most important and what's not important, right? I literally got clues about how my book was going to get laid out in that visualization, what was going to be so good about it. That's one of the things that happens if you're a person who can go to that place of visualizing. If not, it just allow your imagination as you're setting your goals and coming to this place where we have an operating principle and getting like, okay, if my intention is, the same thing, only more, we had an operating principle called love from order and order from love. Because I got as we were creating our goals and as I was thinking about creating the same thing, only more, that I wanted to do it from a place of love. That comes through when you actually imagine yourself having these successes. Be sure you touch base with that part of you, that knowing part of, oh, this is how I want to be. This is how I want to, this is a value. That's really the operating principle as I'm looking at it right now, Curtis. It's those high values. What are the values? You might actually put that in your vision. What are the values that I want to honor as I am making this vision a reality? Anything you would add to that piece?
As you were talking, I was wondering, why do we call it an operating principle? One's an intention, then there's goals, then we
Mm.
have this operating principle with order from love and love from order that is in the middle, that's kind of circling around. And I guess it is like, what's the energy with which we're going to do this?
Yeah.
We're going to order, we're going to have a loving energy that creates order. And it's all circling, I guess, another goal of our intellectual property is financially fruitful is written in the middle of that.
Yeah, that was it. But the operating principle was that love for, I just really, I love that you were questioning that too. It's like, why do we call it that? I think it really is the values piece, because values are a verb, right? Values
Yeah.
are meant to be operated, behavioral, something you're actually living into. Whereas I think of it, an intention is more of that big picture. Yeah, it's kind of guiding me, along the way. Again, you know, make up what you want. We're just like laying out the ways that we do this.
We made
And
it
if
up this way.
we made it up this way to make it fun and to kind of give it some texture. So there might be ideas that are coming to you right now. I encourage you, like, think about what do you want to add? And I'm going to talk about our vision board in a moment. So here's where we've gone so far. You want to do some kind of imagining. You want to go to dreamland. You might need a coach to help you with this. Listen to a visualization or just sit down and go, wow, if it could be any way I wanted it to be. I'm going to reach over here a second and bring this on. This is something that helps me a lot is my magic wand. It's a coaching tool. We say, if you had a magic wand, what would it look like? Because you want your vision to have that magical piece in it. Ooh, this would be amazing. And you want it to have doable as well, right? You want to bring those two things together. So set an intention, set some goals. Maybe you'll have some values or you'll take on the operating principle concept. We added something in last year that I think has been huge this year, Curtis. We talked about this on the last show. When you're leaving the year behind, is, what are you stepping into? What are you leaving behind? We brought that forward into our vision and we literally put on our vision board, and there's our kitty, what we're saying yes to and what we're saying no to for the year. What impact did that have on you last year?
Hmm. God, it keeps reminding me what I'm moving toward and what I need to watch out for. And it's a reminder. So, folks, we put our vision board up in a place where we see it all the time. When I do some morning exercises, I'm looking right at it. So it's a structure that is real and alive and present in my daily life. And it's a way of reminding me of yes to, you
Mhm.
know, being guided by intuition, say no to, judgmental and
Unconscious
unconscious
thinking.
steps. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
it's powerful because it's there and it comes from this visioning experience, which if you let it will kind of tap deep into you. So it's a reminder of that.
I love that how you're describing it. I had never thought to put the nose on a vision board, but it's been really, really powerful for me as well, because those are the things that trip me up. And it's so clear on the vision board. These are the no, like I'm saying no to that. So it's got a yes in it, kind of, right? Here are the things that we're saying yes to, but the no's have a yes in them. And we're going to go to this as we're wrapping this up, talking about habits. I feel like it's really helped me manage my saboteur and really keep an eye on those limiting beliefs so that I don't allow them to get in my way. So that's another way you can go in your visioning. What are you saying yes to this year? And what are you saying no to? It can be as simple, you sit down, get a piece of paper, write them down. And then the next place we go in our visioning is we put all of this on a vision board. So many ways you can do this. You can do it online, you can grab images. We still go old school. We get magazines. There are still magazines, actually, if you didn't know this. I have some I really, really love. But one of my favorite things to do is to go to Barnes and Noble or some bookstore where they sell a bunch of magazines and get three or four that just look really cool with yummy pictures. Or I get calendars that have pictures. Or you might have things just sitting around your house, some things that you're no longer using. I find this old postcards or wrapping paper. I mean, you can get creative with this. You want to have images. They don't have to be exactly, so some people like exactness. And maybe if that's your thing, yes. If you want to write a book, then get a picture of a book and put it on your vision board. But you also want to bring in some dreamy images, some images that evoke joy in you, that evoke, oh, that's who I really am. That's what I care about. This is scientific, people. It's scientific, I'm going to say. Curtis is laughing at me because when you put images and then you want to put words, so you might put down the words of, you might write your goals on your vision board. You might just put words that inspire you. Sometimes people just find inspiring words or phrases. I found early on in the visioning process that magazines are, and this can be an online magazine too. They have really good writers who come up with really great things, little pithy sayings about things that you can go and go, oh my gosh. I remember a year I helped this client with her vision board, and she found an ad for toilet paper, and it said, what was it called? Soft but strong.
I like that.
And it's things like that. It's like you get, oh, that's that just evokes something in you. And also, when you find these in these things I love about magazines, they have really good photographers too, and they have amazing images. So you want to find pictures that match what came through in the visualization, that came through in the goal setting, that come through when you're thinking, if you do, intentions, operating principles, values. Take a look at all those pieces of your visioning. And then here's what I encourage you to do. If you're in our community, I encourage you to come to our retreat day, which is going to be January 17th. I just got to put a plug in for that, where we spend the whole day going on and offline and doing this. And it can be any time zone because we make it friendly for Europe and Asia and the people in our Eastern Pacific time zone, Central as well. And you do it in a day where you just sit and you're pulling images and you're grabbing words and you're just in, oh, this is what I want to create this year. You might not get the whole thing done of gluing it on a board, or we've done some. I remember one where I remember Steve did it like the image board from online when we did our all day retreat. And by the end of the day, he had the most amazing vision board with the words and the images. And he presented it to us, Curtis. I remember. And I was like, you could feel this is happening for this man. This is what this guy is going to make happen because he got into the feeling of it. Again, we're going to recommend get into the feeling. You want it to feel good when you look at it, and you want it to have a kind of pull you forward. What else? Anything I'm forgetting there with the vision board
I like
piece?
exactly the pull you forward, the sense of I always like I can get lost in these words and images. I can get lost in this vision.
Mm.
I like that feeling of, oh, I just like to look at it. Even now. I love the paintbrushes that we have on it. It's, I just looked at them yesterday or today, and I just kind of these colors and the textures, they're really, really cool.
And here's the thing I want to add in here. So there's a very, I'm going to say, practical piece of this. You have images and words that engage you as you go through the year. Because think about that's how we get engaged. We have pictures and words that go together, and they're like, oh, that's right. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm up to. Sometimes there are also images and maybe words that you don't even know what they mean, but that you're like pulled by them. You're like, oh, there's something about that I really, really like. And so I'm putting it on my vision board. And halfway through the year or partway through the year, you're like, oh my goodness, that's what that was. That's what I had this year. This is going to go into our next, where we land this on our next podcast. I tell this story a lot where there was a year not long ago, I put a church on our vision board. It was a beautiful church. I just loved it. And we wrote something about our spiritual community. This is the year we're really going to create our community. And something about that church appealed to me. It wasn't literal though. I'm not a person who likes necessarily organized religion in the way this church was depicting, but it evoked something in me. And a few months into the year, that goal shifted to Soul Driven Success Business Academy. But the church and the community, it was our community. And there's something, and I'm doing this because there's something about a church that held that experience for me of people coming together, kindred spirits, something sacred where we're coming together to actually do good in the world. So when you're gathering those pictures and those images, give yourself permission to, find things that you don't have to explain to anybody. Why
Yeah,
is that on my vision board?
I love that.
Just makes me happy, like the paintbrushes you just talked about. So we have these amazingly gorgeous paintbrushes that are on our vision board. It doesn't mean that we're going to become painters, not at least not that I know of so far, Curtis. No. But as Curtis was saying, there's something about that that really pulls us forward, that has us engaged to look at our vision and keep working on it. So you can do this in any order that feels right to you. There's kind of an organic, natural order that you'll find. The next pieces that you want to put into this visioning process are beginning to look at how you're going to make it real. One of them in our vision course I call map it out. Map it out. Now one thing I really like is you start making the vision board perhaps, or maybe you do the map it out first. I like to kind of start getting pictures and images and then see how will this look in a year's time. You want to start looking at quarters of the year or seasons. This is where what Curtis said earlier, so it's doable. You want to keep the magic piece in, but you want to look like, oh, well, because you can put those on your vision board as well. You can start going, okay, maybe I want to, if I do this, if I have this goal, it will lead to this goal, which will make sense with this goal. If I want to make more money, then maybe a goal is going to be to upgrade my marketing and sales system. And then maybe it also means that I need to get a new website. Just kind of putting some linear things because you'll start to see, oh, the a vision is can be integrated, and that might mean that I need to grow in my authority or in my belief in myself. You'll start to see the being goals, and it all starts working together. So I really recommend you take some time to map it out this month. Again, you can make the vision board first. We always leave room on our vision board. We start creating it. We get it put together a good bit, but then we take a week or so as we're really looking at the year and going into the piece that we're going to do on our next show about calendarizing it, putting it in the calendar. So take time to map it out. And last but not least, what are some habits that are going to help you make this vision a reality? This is it's one of the keys, I think, Curtis, to how we help our clients and we ourselves make our visions. A lot of it becomes real because we look at what are the things that we can do on a regular basis. This is where I feel like people fail with their visioning is they do one-offs. Okay, I'm going to go do a thing and make it happen. Or I'm even going to, kind of take on a project like building a website as opposed to I'm going to get into a habit of writing some marketing copy. I'm going to get
Mm.
into a habit of really, here's a habit that when we were doing a website one year we had the habit of every week we went out and looked at websites that we liked. And we kept like, I don't know what we called it, like a file. And that was our habit. We just went out and if we got an email or we got a marketing message from somebody we admired, we like went out and take a look at their website and we're like, oh my gosh, look at that font or look at how they've laid that out. So include habit making and maybe just one or two. What is a being habit and what is a doing habit that's going to help create your vision this year? So I'm going to leave you with that. Thanks for joining us. Next episode, we're going to bring this series home. We're going to talk to you about making a plan and evolving your vision throughout the year. So thank you for
Whoa,
joining us.
baby.
Woohoo! This is where we're really going to make it real. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, Curtis, for being my partner here on the show. And we look forward to seeing you and bringing this home in a couple weeks. Bye bye.